Hey everyone, and welcome to another day here with Alistair, and I'll be showing you guys my ancestry DNA results in today's episode. So before I get started, please hit the subscription button down below so you can get post notifications and you could see whenever I drop a video. Alright, so if you have been following my channel, you'll realize that I'm into genealogy and I'm all about learning new things about my culture or my genetic makeup. So a couple weeks ago, I made a video on my ancestry DNA results and it went viral on TikTok. Like, it went so viral on TikTok, I didn't expect it at all, but it went up to like 158,000 views with like 780 something shared and 1,098 comments. So it really went viral, like viral, and I am gonna try to see if I can create an episode on that to show the responses that I've gotten. But majority of the responses that I've gotten is that I look like I'm Nigerian and I am from the Igbo tribe. So I'll get into all of that, but yeah. So if you have not yet started to follow me on TikTok, I'll put my TikTok link there so you could go over there and see the video for yourself and see the comments. But I'll create an episode on those comments in another video. All right. So today we'll be looking on my 23andMe results. All right. So I have already logged in on my tablet and I'll be giving you the results right now. All right. So my ancestral composition is, it says that I am 88.2% sub-Saharan African, and that's a lot of percentage. Like, that's like almost my entire genetic makeup. So it's like 88.2 sub-Saharan African, and it went down and said that I'm 87.1% West African. I am 71.4% Nigerian. So on Ancestry DNA, I was 53% Nigerian, but I also have an ethnic group called Benin and Togo, right? And that was 18%. So if you add those two up, it's basically 71%, right? So that really made sense. So I'm literally 71.4% Nigerian. And if you have read anything about the African history, you'd know that Africa or Nigeria and the other areas were like one, because Benin and Togo and Nigeria were near to each other and they were considered as one area. But because of colonization and everything, they split up and everything. So it made perfect sense now. So I'm 71.4% Nigerian, and I am 14.4% Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leonean. Right? I'm 14.4% of that. So I'm 0.4% Senegambian and Guinean, and I'm 0.9% broadly West African. Also went down in some smaller percentages, and I'm 1.1% Congolese and Southern East African, and 1.1% Angolan and Congolese, right? So that's my genetic makeup for sub-Saharan African, and that makes up 88.2 of my genetic makeup, making Nigeria the highest percentage of 71.4%. Wow, that's just amazing. As a Jamaican, I would never expect Nigeria to be that high, because if you know about the slave trade and how my foreparents had to traverse from Africa to the Caribbean, it's kind of hard to understand how they kept in their lineage. And you know, I still have that much African blood in me, because you know what happened when we were all taken from Africa. A lot of things happened along the way, right? But I am proud to say that I'm 71.4% Nigerian, and I'm like 88.2% sub-Saharan African. That's a huge thing for me. And if my ancestors were here, oh my God, I would literally laud them for that, because that's a big deal for me. It's a big deal. All right. So moving on. So my second area is Central and South Asian, right? Central and South Asian, and that makes up 7.2% of my genetic makeup. And that's like India, right? If you don't know, that's specifically in India. All right. And if you do not know anything about Jamaica, I'm sure I would advise you to go and read up, because Jamaica had a lot of indentured servants from India, from Uttar Pradesh. They came from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Pakistan, East Indians, North Indians, South Indians. Those are the 4 areas that majority of the Indians came from, right, in India. Because when the British took them from India, they brought them to Jamaica, right? And they brought them there to work as indentured servants, and they worked there on rice fields and sugarcane. Where I grew up in Westmoreland, there was a majority of Indians who had worked on rice plantations. And I am 5.7% Northern Indian and Pakistani. I am 0.8% Southern Indian and Sri Lankan. I am 0.4% Bengali and Northeast Indian. And I am 0.3% broadly Central and South Asian. And as you know, Jamaica the British brought Indians to Jamaica to work as indentured servants in sugarcane plantations, and also they also worked on rice fields, right? Especially in Westmoreland, where I come from. They worked on rice fields, right? So that's where that come from. The next section is the European, and I'm 3.0% European. I am 2.8% Northwestern European, and I am 2.8% British and Irish, and 0.2% broadly European. The next section is Indigenous American, right? And I am 1.2% Indigenous American. And if you have seen my Ancestry DNA result, it actually picked up that as well. And it actually picked up a specific location, which was in Central America, which is in Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Honduras. And if you know anything about the Jamaican history, I know this was not taught to us in Caribbean history or history in general in Jamaica, but when Jamaica was under the British ruling, they got in touch with the Indians that were in Nicaragua and Honduras, right? Those Indians were called Miskito Indians, right? And they were known to be strong in battle and very adept and skillful in whatever they do. And they conquered the Spaniards a lot of times, right? So they were known for their artillery and so forth, right? So the British went to them, right, to join forces so that they could conquer the Maroons in Jamaica. When I found this out, I was shocked. I didn't know anything about that. So the British went there from Jamaica and spoke to them and formed some type of contract where they could get some benefits from doing that. So the contract was banned, and they came from there to Jamaica, and they fought the Maroons in about 2 battles, but they didn't win, right? So based on the contract, they were awarded money for not winning because it was a contract, and even if they didn't win, they would get something from it anyway. So majority of the Miskito Indians that came there to fight against the Maroons, they didn't win, so they went back, and then some stayed, right? So some stayed in Jamaica while some Jamaican African slaves went to Nicaragua. Because if you know anything about history, Nicaragua has a lot of Africans there as well, from African descent, and they also have some type of Jamaican, accent. It's not the same thing as Jamaican patois, but they sound similar to Jamaica Creole, like similar. And I also see where I have relatives in Nicaragua and in Bluefield, in particular Bluefields. That's where majority of the Afro-Jamaicans are there, right? And that's where I have majority of my relatives from, right? So the Miskito Indians left and they went back to Nicaragua and Honduras, while some stayed in Jamaica and mixed with the African people that were there, right? So that's how that ended up in my DNA. That's how I ended up with that indigenous America Central DNA, because I have relatives in Honduras and I have an ancestor who was indeed from that region, which was a Miskito Indian, which is an indigenous Indian in that specific location in Central America, right? And I'll probably show you a little article on what I found online on that to back up what I'm saying, because I'm not making this up. This is actually factual. So I'll just post a video there or a link for you to see. The next section is some trace ancestry, and they say that I am 0.1% Indonesian, Thai, Khmer, and Myanmar, right? And I am 0.3% unassigned, which they couldn't pick up wherever my DNA came from. So they just have it as unassigned. But as the DNA improves, it will locate those areas. And it says that my recent ancestry, I have recent ancestry in America, which specifically the Caribbean in Westmoreland Parish in Jamaica, which is so correct because that's where I grew up all my life. And it also went down to say that Jamaica has 14 administrative regions, and we found that the strongest evidence of your ancestry in the following 6 regions. What? 6 regions in Jamaica? That's crazy. So I have recent ancestry in the parish of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. Andrew, St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, and Clarendon. Now that's a shocker to me. I didn't know I had so much relatives in those areas, right? So Ancestry DNA really made sense, and 23andMe really made sense. Everything went together, and it was on point. It was catch on, like everything was on point. So if you don't believe in this DNA thing, I think you should at this point, because if you should compare my ancestry DNA and my 23andMe, it's actually the same thing. It's actually the same thing. And 23andMe gives you some information about your health predisposition, and it tells you what you might have in your DNA that might be carried down or inherited from parents. And it also gives you some information about your haplogroup, your maternal haplogroup, and your paternal haplogroup, right? It also gave me some relatives in the different areas that my DNA came up in. So for example, in Nigeria, I had 4 relatives from Nigeria, like 5th cousins, and they were 100% Nigerian, and they were of the in Nigeria. They were from the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, and they were able to give me a specific location as to where they are from, and I would suppose that's where my ancestry came from too. So I messaged them, got in touch, and they shared their information. The majority of them are living in the States now. And I've also seen some relatives from Ghana. And in fact, they're my fifth cousins. One of them was born in Jamaica, and their mom is from Hanover, and their dad is from Ghana, and they're living in Ghana now. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't know I had relatives from Ghana, but that's, Jamaica had a lot of Ghanaian descendants as well, so I'm not really that surprised. And they are from the Ashanti tribe, right? So yes, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or concerns, just hit me down in the comment section and I'll share the information as it regards to my ancestry. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to look what I'm presenting today. So thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscription button so you can get post notified whenever I drop another video. Thank you and have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.